expert in this field. I don't lay any such claim to that, and there are others who are experts in their own rights. I just happen to be an ordinary policeman, but I have a perspective that I have to offer that I'd like to share, and this I've shared across many platforms. And it is situating police in this context of cyber security and securing the government as such, and police being the most visible arm of government. Will it still be visible, or whether it will still be protecting the visible part of the infrastructure or the property and life, as it is called in the legal parlance? That can be a different perspective altogether, but I'd just like to put it on the table as to what I'm trying to underline. See, there are three megatrends that have happened, and they have happened at an inflection point which is almost fixed. 2008 is an inflection point about three megatrends, and this is something I'd like to share and something that has probably passed us by mentally. The first megatrend is in 2008, they say that the city population of this world, the rural population of this world and the city population were 50-50 at 2008. The second megatrend is that the mobile internet users actually surpassed the fixed line internet users in 2008. And the third megatrend of 2008 is that the Internet of Things surpassed the Internet of People. What does it mean for the police? Police is also a verb. You police yourself. You protect yourself as policing yourself. If you police the society, it's also used as a verb of making society secure and safe. Where is the police as an organization situated in this huge journey of the megatrends? I have this phrase that I use, and it is personal to me, but I believe that it is true, that if we are building into a huge network today, and there is the founder of Oracle used to say that the network itself is a computer. So we are looking at a huge computer or a huge network, and we are networking almost everything. And my take on it is anything that is networked is also possible to be crime work. Anything that is networkable is crime workable. The criminal also can work on the network, and he can do serious damage. So we network ourselves because we mean to connect to each other for productive use, for a better life. But the criminal also uses the same network to do some serious damage to your proposal of a better life, your efforts towards a better life. As far as the government is concerned, it is not like a private enterprise that private enterprise also balances issues of cost optimization, etc. But for the government, there is another balance which is between security and privacy concerns. So it multiplies the challenge that the government faces. Is the police, which is supposed to police for safety and security of this society and every one of us here, is it prepared for this? Is the question that I raise. It's loud thinking on my part, and I have a feeling that when even the first conference for Homeland Security took place, right after 9/11, I had the fortune or the misfortune of being able to go and meet people in the FBI in the US. And they were at pains to explain to us that in India, you have on a daily basis more threat from terror and terrorists than we have. But the problem is you have a home department which has been created ab initio right in the beginning. But the Homeland Security had to be created after such a bad experience as 9/11, and a total of 55 departments had to be brought together to create the Homeland Security Department in the US. And when they started it, this is what Karen Evans had to say, that when we first started this process, agencies didn't know what they didn't know. I think it can be extrapolated to the situation of cybersecurity and security in the network. the agency which is supposed to be at the center of it, the police, in some way. Of course, there has to be a lot of collaboration. This is the age of collaboration. But the police probably doesn't know what it doesn't know and what it is that it has to do. And there is another statement that was made by another expert in the same context, is that it is a fortuitous approach we take, that we allow that the feeling that everything will take care of itself and nothing will happen until morning, the next morning everything will be fine. It is just depending or believing in your luck. It is as if you just let it be because you are helpless. I think as a police system, we are not helpless, but certainly we are struggling with the situation. Just to put some perspective into this, as an IPS officer who is a non-technology man, I'm struggling with technology, I'm trying to understand cybersecurity. That's fine, maybe I understand a little bit and I appreciate it. But imagine that 90% of the police, which is supposed to protect the society, is actually constabulary. And in many, many states, the constabulary is nothing but non-matric pass, never in touch with technology ever. It's not that they are going to handle cybersecurity. I know it is, as I said, it is collaborative. It is the business, the public and the private sector, the police come together to do this. It's a combined enterprise. It's an issue of collaboration. But the point is, somewhere down the line, at the point of legal dealing, at the point of investigation, the police has to come in and the police has to have the expertise to deliver. Probably that is where we have missed the trick. And today we are faced with an enormous challenge as to how to handle this. And the second and the third problem that that I feel are following this lack of preparation or expertise is two issues. What I call DWP and DAP. DWP is data with police. As these mega trends have happened, the data with police is going to multiply geometrically. The data with police is going to multiply geometrically. Let me give you an example. It's not that it is by design. In Jharkhand, which is known, or which has a bad name for a lot of things that are happening. A few good things have happened to the police and to the governance there. We have one of the best data centers in the country with the Jharkhand police, one of the best, and I don't want to exaggerate, I'm very sure about this. That data center is also a replacement for the absence of a state data center, which is one of its kind. The state does not have a state data center. And from that police data center, we are also hosting the authentication for Aadhaar, which is the Aadhaar card database. We are handling PDS, or we are hosting PDS, we are hosting commercial tax, and whatnot. So, what I'm trying to say is that it is by design or by accident, databases will merge. And whether by design or by accident, databases will have to be accessed. So, it will be some data with police, or there will be some data accessible to police. Now the point is, what is this data? This data is actually data concerning the common man, the citizen, or the critical infrastructures, or the critical businesses, or the critical processes of governance. Is there enough collaborative expertise and understanding and fusion that ensures that the police and every other organization are so well coordinated that they can ensure the best use of this data, whether at rest, whether diving? So these are the thoughts I'd like to leave you with, because I personally believe that now there's a situation that is coming up where the police is not actually handling the visible physical infrastructure or the physical safety of the person, of the citizen. In the cyberspace, it is handling the invisible security of the person, of the persons and the citizen. The digital world is being handled by the police, and whether it is prepared for that enormous challenge that it is facing. So, typically, maybe 5 years from now, the disruptive megatrends will also impact policing. It's already impacting. Cloud, mobile, social media, cameras are everywhere, sensors are everywhere, and big data is going to be part of this mega mix. Is the police prepared for this? Is something that I leave it for the floor and maybe during the discussion we'll come back to it. But as I said, to reiterate, there will be issues of security and privacy concerns, cost optimization, etc. And finally, the issue that there has to be an architecture of public safety and security which will combine all these concerns. And finally, if we are looking at the era of co-created and collaborative policing, where the citizen will be as much a part of policing as the police itself. And it's already happening around the world. Let me give you an example of what is called the Watch program, the iWatch program in the UK. What happens is, in the UK, the police controls the control centers where the CCTV footage across all streets in a town are being integrated. We are talking about smart cities, and this is a conference about smart cities. Now, the video feed is coming to the control room. What they have done is, they have tried to ensure collaboration with the citizens. So what happens is, in probably an area which is a locality, what happens is each household is given a password and access to the relevant footage, video footage, over the last 1 week. And what happens is the citizen is asked to go through that footage, maybe because there's a burglary that has happened last night, or ordinarily he goes through the footage, she goes through the footage and tries to find out any suspects, things or person. In fact, it is now established that because of this collaboration, collaborative policing, lots and lots of offenders, possible offenders, potential offenders have been apprehended. So this is co-created policing. And there is a very old saying that every policeman is a citizen without uniform, and every citizen is a policeman, or every policeman is a citizen in uniform, every citizen is a policeman without uniform. And that has to happen. Co-created policing is the way to go. It has to be the future. So if that happens, is the machinery geared for this co-created policing? So this is the interesting point I'd like to leave you with. Thank you.